Hey friends, this is Candy. I finally got my YouTube channel. I've been wanting it for a couple years now, but just couldn't get the nerve up to do it. But with the encouragement from my friends and my family, I was like, you know what? Go for it. I have nothing to lose. So here I am. The reason for the channel is discussions about mental health. And I want us to educate and uplift one another about the subject. Myself, I suffer from anxiety and depression. And how that came to be was, while I was at work, everyone knows that I was a supervisor at Walmart. Very stressful, very long hours, tiring. How it came to play was, I would be at work. I would encounter, a very stressful situation. And it would start, mentally. I would sit down and I'm like, oh gosh, I got a headache. I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. I have a lot of stuff on my plate. I'm trying to, get it all together. And then it would start with, I would start sweating. Then my hands would start shaking. And then I would my heart would start beating fast. And then I'm panicking. And so, with me thinking, okay, why is my heart beating fast? Am I having a heart attack? Like, what's happening to me? But with that being said, on numerous occasions, because I also have asthma. So, while I'm at work and I'm dealing with all these situations with different customers and problems and issues and associates having issues, I was thinking that, I was having an asthma attack. So then it would start with physical. One day I would be nice and bubbly, having the time of my life, making videos in the corner of the store, living my best life. And then the next day, I wouldn't even want to get out of bed. I wouldn't even want to brush my teeth or comb my hair. I wouldn't want to answer the phone. I wouldn't want to feed the dog. I just wanted to curl up in my bed with the blinds closed, the door locked, in the dark, and I just wanted to be alone by myself. Those times, those dark times. And I didn't understand, well, what's wrong with me? What is going on? But then the next day, it would be like I'm back to my bubbly self. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe because I'm getting older, I'm going through a phase. So, I started discussing it with my husband. I'm like, I think something's going on. I've been having a lot of asthma attacks. He was like, well, honey, just go to the doctor. See what's going on. Maybe your, prescription in your inhaler isn't strong enough or something. So I'm like, okay, go to the doctor. I'm letting the doctor know. I'm like, look, I have asthma. I'm having asthma attacks like every single day. My doctor's like, really, every day? I'm like, yeah. And my doctor was like, well, tell me about what's going on. So, of course, he was like, yeah, your job's pretty stressful, this and that. Well, when he came back into the office, surprisingly, he told me that, now before he came back into the office, y'all, I had been on Google. Now, everybody knows that, like, when you're sick, you go to Google. You're like, okay, sweating, headaches, nausea. And you put it in and you hit the enter, and then the worst of the worst comes up. You have cancer. You have, you're going to die in 3 days. You have this, that, and the fourth. And you're like, what? You don't even want to go to the doctor after reading that. So fast forward, I'm in the doctor's office. Now I'm thinking I know what I'm talking about. So the doctor, he comes back in, he has a little, clipboard. So I'm like, well, sir, I already know what's wrong. Just tell me how long I got. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? I say, well, I was on Google and I had put in my symptoms. And it said that, he was like, ma'am, stay off of Google, okay? See, with you getting on Google and you think you already know what's wrong with you, that's making you even more stressed out. So I was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, you have, anxiety and depression. And I was like, what? Like, what's that? Like, do I get a shot? How do we get rid of it? What's going on? And he's like, okay, well, this is something that you probably had for a while, for many years. You just didn't know that you had it. You thought you were having asthma attacks. You thought with you not being able to sleep, you were suffering from insomnia. With you sweating at work, you thought, well, maybe it's too hot, or I'm going through early menopause or something. He's like, you're not going through any of that. You have anxiety and depression, and I can give you medication. If you want to go further, you can go to counseling and therapy. So I was like, okay, but with giving the medication, there's also side effects. It could be weight loss, it can be weight gain, it could be hair loss, it could be, nausea, vomiting. When you take a medication for one thing, it's always a downfall with another. So then you have to go back to the doctor and get, how it goes. Did that. I was also, when I would go to counseling, it really made me feel better, because when I was diagnosed with it, I felt like, oh my God, I'm the only person. I don't know anyone in my family that has this. No one has ever talked to me and told me that they're suffering from this. How many people have this? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that feels like I want to curl up in a ball every other day because I'm in this dark place? Why do I feel like this? What's happening to me? How am I going to get rid of it? Well, after going to the counseling groups, I learned that millions of Americans suffer from mental health issues, mental conditions. And a lot of people don't even know that they have it. A lot of people think they are just having anger issues, they're angry all the time, or they're having hot flashes, early menopause, or they have insomnia, when in reality, they're actually going through the symptoms of having a panic attack, or they're going through the symptoms of, bipolar depression, or they're having a bipolar episode. They don't even know it. They feel like it's a health issue. They can pop an aspirin or ibuprofen and they'll all go away. But then they realize it came back again, and it's coming back again, and it's getting worse and worse and worse over time. For me, I had been suffering from it for many years. Unfortunately, life doesn't always hand everyone that great deck of cards. So, I had been through a lot in my life. And I guess, with me putting things off and trying to, block things that happen to you, and not discussing, issues with certain people, you keep things bottled up. But if you put water in a balloon and it keeps expanding, it's going to pop, it's going to bust. And that's what happens to us. We can only hold in so many of our emotions before we just have that meltdown. And I think that's probably what happened. That's what happened to me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what happened to me. Going to the counseling groups and, the sessions, they really helped out for me. I suggest, people that's, going through any of those symptoms, or talking with other people really helps. 2020 has been a very difficult year for a lot of people. A lot of people are unemployed. A lot of people have passed and died. They haven't been able to, mourn the way that they should have, because we're all forced to work. We can't take bereavement. We can't take the time that we need to actually mourn. We're so busy trying to pay bills. It's like, okay, this person died, I got to go to work the next day. That's not really giving your mind time to heal. And we all need that. And that's why I decided to come up with a YouTube channel. I want my own channel where we can come together. This is a safe haven. We're not going to judge one another. We're not going to badmouth one another. We're not going to bully one another. We're all going to be on this page. We're going to be a team, a group, friends. And we're going to share our experiences, and we're going to educate one another, and we're going to be there to uplift one another as well. That's what I want us to do. I just want to touch upon many of the mental health issues, the disorders. A lot of us are not educated on a lot of, of these subjects, and a lot of us are. A lot of us have a lot of, previous, past, and, a lot of experience in this field because we go through it every day. Like me, I have a lot of experience in anxiety and depression. Been going through it, for a very long time. So if you ask me a question, I'm sure I can answer your question. Whereas if someone was to ask me about schizophrenia, bipolar, or multi-personality disorder, I'm not really educated on that, but I'm sure somebody out there is. And if you are, if you don't mind, educating us, sharing with us some of your experiences, your past experiences, how did you, deal with it at work? How did you deal with it out in public? Do people, judge you or bully you? Have you told your friends? Does your family know? Just share your experiences with us so we can be educated on, wow, that's deep, like I didn't know that. A lot of us don't know. We don't know the signs. And, we don't want anyone out there thinking, oh, well, she's just crazy. She's just crazy. No, Candy is sick. I'm like, I have a health issue. And, I take medication for it. So, it's pretty serious. And don't think that you're alone. For a long time, I felt like, oh gosh, I got to take this pill. And then, sometimes my friends, when I would like fly off the handle with a cashier or something like that because I'm having an anxiety or panic attack, they'll be like, girl, did you take your medicine? Sometimes I would get offended by that. Sometimes I didn't because I knew it was a joke. But, how do you deal with that? Like, do they shade you when you're at work, when you're, having a moment? Do you let people know that, wait a minute, I'm having a moment. I need to, like, step away. Do you do that? Let us know, share in the comments. Like I said, we're not going to make fun of one another. We're not going to judge one another. We're not going to bully one another. We're all here to educate, learn, and just, come together. And most importantly, if there's someone out there and they're really having a hard time, we're all on here because for the same reason, right? I want us to, reply and comment, encourage. That's what I want us to do. If someone is having a rough day and they may put a comment in and it's, just a little, sad or whatever, if we can just encourage that person, it would really make a difference. I would love to see that. I would love to do that. Sometimes that would have helped me. I had a lot of rough days, and just to hear some type of encouragement from someone really would have made the difference. So I want us to do that. That's why I started the channel. I want us all to come together. I want us to share the page, subscribe, like it. Also, it's exciting, I don't have a title or a name. So with you guys subscribing and sharing and liking, I would like for y'all to come together and maybe come up with a name or a title for this channel. Interact with one another. Put the name in the comments. I'm very curious what you guys come up with. I had a name, but it's taken, so I'm very curious. I've been in the thesaurus for days trying to come up with something, and nothing has clicked yet. But a million heads are better than one. I'm sure somebody out there has something that I would like to use as a forever YouTube channel title. So drop that in the comments, subscribe, like, and look for me on my next video.